Hello, everyone. Welcome into the LFC Transfer Room. It's Saturday, July 31st. We're nearing August. We're nearing the Premier League season. We're nearing the end of the transfer window, which is when we love the rumors that seemingly give us hope. Jarrod Bowen, transfer, hopefully close. I'm
Exactly.
Jack, Chedu, Charlie, and Chris. I realize it's a trio of C's. And just myself is the only Jack, the only J, I should say. How you guys doing?
Smashing, fella. I'm good. Just back from holiday. Nice. Got a little bit of a cheeky tan, so we can't complain. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to chatting some transfers as per usual.
Chedu? How you feeling?
Fuming, fuming.
Why are you fuming, Chedu?
Guys, before we went live, these three decided to hate on this beautiful shirt. Like you guys love it, right? Comment if you rate it out of 10. It's definitely a 12 in my opinion. But apart from the unbelievable hate I got for this shirt, I'm doing quite well.
Rate Chedu's shirt out of 10 in the comments down below.
Yeah, please rate it out of 10.
Charlie,
if it's not a 15, I'm gonna be fuming.
Charlie, you lead us off with the analysis of it, and how are you doing today?
Listen.
I'm good, man. I'm not not. Do you know what? I wouldn't wear it, but I think Chedu can pull it off. I'll give it a 5.
Thank you. A 5?
If there's anyone in this transfer room who can pull it off, it's you. It's not Matty. It's not. Imagine Matty wearing that.
Thank you.
That would just be so funny.
It works on me. Let's just say that. On me, it's a 12. On anyone else, it's a 4. Let's say that.
We're not LFC fashion room though, guys, are we?
Hey, there we go, Chris with the segue. Jarrod Bowen obviously is one of the most heavily linked players. Was not in their friendly match day, which sparked all sorts of rumors. But it turns out he just had a minor injury. Wasn't at Liverpool with the medical ready.
A minor injury, yeah.
Minor injury. I think this is a very interesting one here. Is the Elliott in midfield? I've championed this since match 1 when he was in against, was it Stuttgart that he was in the midfield against?
Yeah.
I think this is where Klopp is going to play him. I mean, I don't want to say he's David Silva reincarnated, but I mean, I think he's more suited to the midfield than he is up front. So I think Jarrod Bowen makes perfect sense, as he wouldn't hinder Elliott's development and could allow us to just sign a forward if we're so poor.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, if you think about how the way Liverpool play, our attackers, Mane and Salah, are rapid. Elliott's not. I mean, I'm not saying that he's not quick, because he is quick, but he's not, completely and utterly lightning. So I think, yeah, it suits him. And it's really, really, people have been crying out for a creative midfielder since the dawn of time, or at least since Coutinho left. So why not Harvey Elliott?
Yeah. Elliott in midfield. I don't want to say that I championed this very first, but Charlie, I remember early on, I believe you were against it, if I'm not mistaken. Have you softened the idea, or are you still rooting for him up top?
I'm not against it. I just never really saw it happening for Liverpool. I think maybe one day, but seeing him more, he does look. I think if he probably spends a year just being one of the main midfield substitutes, which I think, by the looks of it, I think that's probably what's going to happen, because Liverpool, I think we're prioritising an attacker over a midfielder currently, which would go to suggest that it's a right wing replacement for Shaqiri, and then they're just going to hope no one gets injured and just play Elliott in a midfield. I mean, he hasn't looked terrible, but he's probably not starting material at the moment, but I think he's going to be an amazing player in the future. So, yeah, as long as he plays for Liverpool, I don't really care where he plays.
I've been a big fan of the Elliott, Salah, Trent right-hand side. I think that link-up play over there is very, very interesting. Chedu, your thoughts on Elliott and more of a midfield role?
I mean, I'll be honest. At the start, I didn't really like it. I think I like him more as a right winger, but I can see him as a Coutinho type number 10 for us going forward, and I wouldn't really be against that. But I don't know. I can right now, the way I see things, it's definitely much more likely for him to get a chance being a right winger over a midfielder, just because of how much depth we have compared to the right wing position. Even more if Shaqiri does leave and someone like Bowen doesn't come in. But I mean, if in the horrible scenario we get Bowen, I guess Elliott's probably just gonna play in midfield in that case.
I can understand horrible situation on Bowen. I don't think it's bad.
We all know we're all aboard the Bowen bus, ladies and gents.
No.
It's time for you to just join.
No.
Accept that.
No.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've seen these in the comments here. I thought Dan Juma of Bournemouth, a player who was playing in the Championship last season. I'm sure Matty would like him more because he's got a more flourishing name. But yeah, he's not quite Jarrod Bowen. But yeah, I don't know. Would it be worth signing Dan Juma over Shaqiri? Like,
we're meant to be selling our fringe players to Bournemouth, not buying them.
Exactly.
That's very true.
I've not seen I've not seen that anywhere. That Dan Juma. Have you guys seen it?
No, I haven't seen it either.
Yeah, I saw a few people mentioning it, but not any solid links from what I've seen. First, I've heard like someone saying that it's close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I mean, he had 17 goals in the Championship last season, but I don't know. That's one that's coming out of left field. This is from Ivan Shwakov. He's the guy who's breaking it.
Good man.
Now I don't know.
Yeah, okay, that's a meme account. That's like indie.
Definitely works with Indy. That's what I was about to say.
If you say his name, it probably speaks for itself.
Ordered KFC in his honor.
Did you see Indy's tweet yesterday where he's like, got big news coming up at 11:30? He just didn't put anything out.
And when he did, he tweeted out like what did he tweet? Like he said something like "forces were against us" or something like something really vague. Let me see. He said
Look,
God,
I feel bad for anyone who tries to be a Liverpool in the know because
here we go. Dark forces stopped us from releasing our news at 11:30 p.m. We have clearance now 8 a.m. And it was the Lautaro Martinez news.
Yeah, so segueing, thanks, very good segue into Martinez. Very good player for Inter Milan. And Arsenal are currently the side most heavily linked with him because Inter Milan need a lot of money. And they think that Martinez is more disposable than Lukaku is. So Martinez, I think, could be the kind of player in my eyes who could be adapted into a Firmino replacement more long term. So he would be £40 million range for a player who's really, really good. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on Martinez.
To start off the entire Martinez thing, apparently, according to sources, he's said to have rejected Arsenal's approach as he would only play in England if the team has Champions League football. So, if that's the case, not saying that it is, of course, we don't know. I don't know which source. I just saw that we tweeted about it.
It's Media Sport, pretty unreliable one.
Well, I mean, it's a tough one. I mean, I'll be honest. I'll probably, out of all the attacking options that have been linked with us, if we look at things realistically, he's probably the best one out of the ones that we may have a chance of going at. And I think he's a fantastic prospect, fantastic player right now, fantastic prospect for the future as well. We'll definitely take him. Like if the money is there and we can actually make it happen, then 100% I'll take it.
Yeah, Inter Milan need to make an €80 million profit. It's not going to be this much to get.
I'll happily play for Inter.
It's not gonna,
if I need to be sent
that much for Martinez. Like you're overstating the price that Martinez is. He's worth £80 million in a normal market because he's a tremendous forward. But the issue is Inter Milan need money. And DJ makes a good point here. He's only making, I think, about what I saw was €2.5 million a year at Inter, which is really, really cheap compared to what else we've been trying to get.
Yeah.
Regarding the whole
these last 2 seasons as well, so it's decent numbers.
Yeah, regarding the whole Inter thing, we actually did an interview with a La Stampa journalist. La Stampa are quite reliable, and he spoke on Inter's finances. So they basically they've got 70 million for Hakimi. Their goal was to make 80 million this summer. So he said that they're not looking to sell any more star players, and they're just looking to reduce the wages of Vidal and Nainggolan. But the links to Martinez are very weak. That's why I didn't really post anything on Twitter, like with the medals and the reliability thing. I just sort of asked the question, because obviously it originated from Indy, who all we know is a meme account, and the other solid link was Sports Media. I think it's a Spanish company, if I remember rightly, who just said the only really, and it's not even a link to Liverpool, was the fact that David Ornstein put that Arsenal have been in contact with him. Again, just not mentioning Liverpool at all. So it seems like Liverpool has just come out of the woodwork because of the whole, if he was to play in England, he'd only want Champions League football. So it's probably a not on link, honestly, but we can dream.
Well, we could segue this really well into another possible transfer of a player who's linked with Arsenal, but apparently doesn't want to join them, in Locatelli. Apparently, according to Fabrizio, there's another English team that's in for him. And according to rumors, of course, they're going to say it's us because apparently we're linked to everyone. But thoughts on Locatelli?
Fabrizio doesn't know anything about Liverpool. I'm fully convinced. He knows about Alisson contract extension, so every time he has a Liverpool rumor, he just sticks the Alisson contract in there.
Yep.
The whole Locatelli thing as well, it's actually the Sassuolo CEO who said that another English club has entered the race. So yeah.
What's he doing?
I don't know. But yeah, so it is confirmed that another English club has entered the race. That isn't just a rumour, that's a quote from the actual CEO. They're not selling him after the 8th of August, and Gazzetta dello Sport have also said that Liverpool are the other club involved.
Bring him home.
What on earth did you just pull out, Cheddar?
Bring him home.
Shit.
It's a DH Gate Sassuolo shirt.
That is an
Bring him home.
ugly jersey. That's an ugly jersey.
But yeah, so I think it's reasonable that we're probably the other club, honestly. I mean, maybe Man United, they're looking for a midfielder, but they've spent a lot of money. So
look, Locatelli would be perfect for Man United in what they need to do. But I think, in my opinion, right, Martinez and Saul would be the perfect window, because those players, you could get Saul for about 45 million pounds. That would be about probably meet what Athletic were looking for. Martinez maybe about 50 million. So you're looking at potentially maybe a combined 100 million pounds between Saul and Lautaro Martinez, when in a normal window, even 12 months ago, it would have been 60 to 100 million pounds more to get those two. So their value instantaneously will leap. And Kel and I, we had our duels in the last stream. And I think I'm not nervous, honestly. Look at the Trent rumor. That's the number one thing. Basically, all it took was just a tweet from the Liverpool account. Here, you want some cool news? Oh, one of our best players signed a new contract, and no one knew this was happening.
Yeah. Teddy's, that's one word for him, Dan.
There's actually a comment over here, from a while ago, that I want to pull up, and it's this one. The club does things silently. I know that we're all eager to see signings, but at the same time, I mean, I think the perfect example recently, it's just the Jota signing. I remember the Thiago rumors were jumping around for a few weeks, and then seconds after Thiago got announced, Jota was also signed. So I am a firm believer that all of this Bowen stuff is just a smokescreen for someone else to join.
When everyone uses the term smokescreen, when have we ever done a smokescreen in the history of this football club? Rumors just happen.
Saar was a big
smokescreen.
Was a massive
Star for
one.
Jota, yeah.
I don't think, but people are saying smokescreen. I don't think that agents or clubs are that idiotic that they're going to see, oh crap, we're seeing Bowen linked to Liverpool. That means we have to
sign someone else.
I firmly dislike the term smokescreen. It makes no sense. What does the club gain from linking you to one player and then signing another?
Vibes.
You're just disappointed if it's a better player that was linked.
Twitter interactions.
Liverpool don't care about that, I don't think.
James Pearce stuff.
Oh, Jamal Lewis as well. Yeah, Jamal Lewis for Simicast as well. Because everyone.
Oh yeah, that's another one.
That
Everyone
wasn't
was-
a smokescreen.
Well, actually, no, that wasn't a smoke screen. That wasn't a smoke screen because if I remember correctly, we made an offer, they denied it, and we just moved on.
Yeah, that wasn't smokescreen.
But then someone said that I think it might have been Pierce. You tested my memory here. That we were going to make a 20 million bid, and then we went and signed Simicast the next day for 11 million.
I'm pretty sure there was an issue with personal terms. Like, that was not a smokescreen. We were genuinely interested in Lewis.
Yeah,
would have been.
And I mean, even the Norwich board. I don't know if I was the manager or the president of the board, but they said that they were disappointed in Liverpool because they expected another offer to come in, but it just never did, and they moved on to Simicast.
Our reliable link is what? It's Indy Kyla. So we are only.
If you have a look in the thumbnail, it just says interest ? It doesn't say that we're interested.
You know, and actually, it's my fault. On the title, it says Lautaro Martinez rumors heating up. So that was a bit of clickbait from yours truly, because they're not really heating up. They're going from like, I don't know,
0 to 1.
0 to like
Essentially.
1. Like you're preheating the oven to 100 degrees.
Yeah, putting your leftover KFC in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh man.
I think Lewis versus Tsimikas. Tsimikas is turning pretty good this preseason. Hasn't done a ton in actual matches yet, but it would have been my big issue is that, you know, our issue right now is homegrown players, and players like Tsimikas that are backup options that are taking up non-homegrown spots. Sometimes it's a little tough. That's why Bowen I think makes a lot of sense, because we have to offload players, not just for the money, but for the squad registration spaces even more if we're signing a Martinez and a Saul versus maybe a Jarrod Bowen. So that's the thing that's always I don't think is Cassie getting into a free. I think he's signing a new deal.
Nah.
I think someone spoke to him, but I saw that he just loves AC Milan. He loves playing for AC Milan.
Yeah.
So why would he leave?
Yeah, I don't think that one's I think always been just
and they're in the Champions League as well, so that's also a good incentive to stay.
I think I see this coming from Toe. I'm not gonna bring it up because I don't want us to get demonetized on the YouTube side of things. But Bowen not making sense. I think Bowen makes perfect sense in my eyes. He's versatile for front three. He's English. He's got room to grow. And you know, we had a debate in our group chat on Bowen.
We've had various debates in the group chat,
and I looked at his stats, right? Comparison to, because we signed at 24 years old to sign him. We signed Jota at 24. We signed Mane at 23. We signed Salah at 24. So they all had roundabouts between 120 to 180 league games. Bowen has the most league games played, most goals scored, second most assists out of those out of the four players. Not to say that he'd be as good, but I mean, look at where Salah and Mane are now compared to where they were when we signed. If you don't think you can do that with Bowen too, you're being foolish.
Jota was playing in the Championship 2 years before he played for Liverpool.
Exactly.
Who would have said? And Bowen's the same. I mean, it's ludicrous how people compare them, and think that Bowen's so much worse. It's because his name's Jarrod Bowen. I'm convinced.
Yeah.
No.
It's almost an inverted, English bias. It's English players have more to live up to.
He's unfashionable. He's unfashionable. That's it. But he's got great numbers.
Yeah. Look, 8 goals, 5 assists. He did better than Jota did the season before we signed him. He's versatile, and again, he's English. I know I'm probably hitting that point far more than I should, but it means that we don't have to offload. I mean, how many foreign players in our squad can we offload? Non-homegrown players. Tsimikas, maybe. We need to replace him.
Shaqiri. Origi, definitely. I love Tsimikas. We always have. He's doing great in preseason, but if he has to go, we've got Owen back. But yeah.
I think any player that you mention as an alternative to Bowen, a lot of times they actually have inferior stats to him in terms of last season, inferior performances.
Messi.
I mean, we're not going to sign Messi, Chedu, are we?
I mean, He's jobless right now.
If we sign,
Okay.
I mean, am I wrong? I'm not saying that we will. I'm just saying he's jobless.
Okay.
Like it's not impossible, but it's not gonna happen.
Thank you for that information.
Harvey
welcome.
Barnes would be good. I'm seeing some talks about Harvey Barnes. He had 9 goals for us in Prem. He's 23. Issues, I think he'd be more expensive than
Isn't that the same amount of goal contributions as Bowen though?
It is, but I don't want to focus solely on goal contributions, because it's you can't really do that as much as I'm talking about it. I think that so I want to kind of go back a bit up because there's the Vlahovic versus Martinez, because there was a poll on the transfer room.
Yeah.
Go to the Twitter page, vote on that poll, and see where people are feeling about that debate there. But I think that and people are saying striker rather than a winger.
Yeah.
Do you think this is true? Do you think this is true?
My hairline isn't that bad. Come on.
It's true. I can't confirm this.
We actually
To be fair-
he was born in the same place as me, so
I knew you was going to go there. You beat me to it. I was like, there's the bias.
Look, let's see. Chris, maybe you guys are just long lost relatives. Maybe that's why you love him so much.
Could be.
I didn't get his friggin' footballing ability.
On Bowen,
You clearly did.
Why can't Bowen replicate Mane and Salah's numbers? He had scored 22 in one season in the championship. I mean,
Jota scored that as well. He scored more than Jota in the championship, actually.
He's shown that he can score goals at a high level. So why can't he be developed like Salah and Mane? I don't understand why there's a lower ceiling for him than there were for those two signings.
To be fair, I think a massive issue is for a lot of fans is because he plays for West Ham. I mean, you look at most Premier League teams, you can probably a lot of fans would be able to pick out at least one player they'd want to sign. I think West Ham is very like a historical thing of not having the best players, especially in recent years. Like I think that's the only thought why I think fans are sort of like this. But I've always said I wouldn't mind Bowen. He's not my first choice, but he's definitely not my last choice either. I think he could come and be a good backup for a season and then potentially prove himself.
But
and also, Wolves didn't play the greatest football, and they still don't play the greatest football. But Jota came into a Liverpool team and did well. So why couldn't Bowen not do that? I don't understand.
What is wrong with Bowen as a player, right? Like, I don't understand the flaws in his game that make him unable to do this. He's a good dribbler. He's very good movement. He's shown that he can score goals at a high level consistently over many seasons. I think he's only 24. I don't know what about him as a player.
Listen, in my opinion, right? And I'm gonna stop trolling. I'm actually gonna be serious about this for 1 second. And it's Bowen would be. I'll admit it. He would be a good signing. It makes a lot of sense, and it's not really that far fetched. But looking at things realistically, we probably need a striker more than a winger. We have Jota, who of course can play both sides as well as a center forward. But we also have Elliott, who can play on the right. We have Minamino. We do have that backup. Obviously not as good as probably a Bowen, but days where Firmino just isn't doing much up front. Someone that can score goals would be needed, and that's not Origi. We need someone that can actually do that job up top as a number 9.
That's Jota. We're not signing a proper number 9. We're signing someone to play like Bobby. We already have the alternative in Jota. That's why a winger is, I think, what we're prioritizing instead of that.
I think.
But should Jota be should we be working to make Jota the next number 9, or just our next Mane's replacement whenever he decides to leave?
Jota can't be Mane's replacement because even though Mane isn't the greatest passer, Jota's even worse at passing. So I think that
thus we need a better false 9.
His all-round game is inferior, and I think Jota in the center is better than him on the left, in my opinion.
Do you think?
I think so, yeah.
I think he's great cutting inside and firing in. I also agree that he has got very much a goal scorer's instinct as well. So that maybe would suit him better in the middle. But I think he can play both of them well. I don't think there's any rush for him to play either or of them. It's like Mo playing on the right or up front. I don't really care where he plays, as long as he plays. It doesn't really matter. So he can play them equally well. So yeah.
Yeah, I think what I like about Martinez is that he scores. He had 17 last season, but he also has a really good all-round game. His link-up play, his pressing could improve a bit. But if you think you're signing a Firmino replacement that's going to score goals this season, like he's just not going to do that.
No, yeah, of course.
Any Firmino replacement needs to be like a Mateus Cunha, who's been mentioned by Kellen, and
I'd take
as well
him
a bit further up because he needs a few years to develop. So in my eyes, a Bowen and a Cunha would be perfect because you have Bowen who can walk in day one, and he's not a project. Bowen is not a project. He's got over 180 league appearances under his belt. So he doesn't need game time to develop. He can come in like Jota and be on the back end. Excuse me.
Okay, something's just come up on LFCTR Twitter. Are you going to read it, Shadow? You read it.
Okay, so we got an update on Saul from Mirror Football. Of course, not the most trustworthy of sources, but not the most untrustworthy either. So it says, Saul hopes to have his summer move to England sorted this week with Manchester United and Liverpool in pole position for his signature. And they are due to jet into England tomorrow in a bid to strike a deal to bring him to the Premier League. Man United are in the box seat, but Liverpool are also keen, and proposals will be sought from both clubs in a bid to tie up a deal quickly. Sources close to the player say he has no desire for his future. Has no desire for his future to still be up in the air by the middle of August. So essentially, if it's true, Saul will be in England tomorrow looking to sign for either Liverpool or United.
That's an interesting rumor because it's on our scale. It's a silver medal too, so it's not very strong. But they're saying that the dude's going to go somewhere. It's really tough to
lie about that.
To lie about that because you're talking about like versus Liverpool are interested in Saul.
Yeah.
Well, how do you disprove that? They could just be interested in him, but
playing trackers out today.
I think that's very interesting. Is Saul starting for Atletico right now? I'll look into that.
I think he's destined for Man United. Honestly, I think they're looking for a midfielder to be the final piece of the puzzle, and I don't think the club think that we're that desperate for a midfielder this summer. So I can see him signing.
He'd also.
Saul is literally in a preseason match against Wolfsburg right now. Like,
yeah, but he could be flying tonight, couldn't he?
True.
That's a bit weird in my eyes.
But the thing is, if another thing is, if he were flying tomorrow, would he really be risking an injury or something like that?
In America, the MLB, the baseball trade deadline just happened, and I'm a fan of the Chicago Cubs, and we traded a lot of our best players away, and we didn't play them in their last game because they realized they don't want to get hurt. The deal falls apart right before the deadline. So.
I mean, that's with every sport in the world. When someone's bound to leave, you usually don't play them to avoid an injury. So
look at Harry Wilson for us. He didn't get played the day before he signed, or I guess the day he signed for Fulham. So it is a strange one, but again,
Llorente named his dog Anfield after scoring against us. I don't think anybody, including Llorente, is interested in joining Liverpool.
I'd love to have Llorente at Liverpool.
No,
I think he's listen. No. Being fully honest, Llorente is a phenomenal player. Can play. I think he's the kind of player that can play anywhere. I've seen him play well as up top. I've seen him in midfield. Even as a right back, I've seen him do well. And he's still young. He has a lot of potential left, and I think he'd be a great addition. If it happened, I wouldn't say no. I genuinely listen. Of course, part of me is angry at that night. Part of me is angry at the fact that he named his dog Anfield after it. But a player of that quality, I wouldn't say no.
In 1989, Liverpool lost the league on the last day against Arsenal. The man who scored the goal was Michael Thomas. 3 years later, we signed Michael Thomas. So it's not like we're going to reject that if that came along.
If the opportunity is there, go for him.
Llorente would be far more expensive than so.
100%. He'd be definitely closer to that 100 million fee. But
I think that
it's not going to happen. But I love it.
So the thing with Man United and Saul, that doesn't make sense to me because for United they play a 4-2-3-1. He can't play in a midfield two with Pogba. Is he replacing Paul Pogba? Then he's not going to be as technical, as advanced as Pogba could be. So I think, honestly, he'd be a good signing for them, but I think it's our transfer to lose out on.
That's another player I think is fantastic and will be a good player. Valverde.
Oh.
Phenomenal player.
I was saying, you're saying linking us to Pogba after like that.
No.
No. I did see that report.
There were rumors. That say that we were interested in Pogba. Of course, stupid rumors, but yeah. But no, yeah, Valverde. Yeah, the problem is Valverde is untouchable, but a fantastic player.
Has there been a single rumor linking us to Valverde?
Before, yeah, there were before. Currently none, but I can't remember one. But I know we've been linked to him before.
It's a few seasons ago before he sort of made the step up.
Before Christ, basically.
And just quickly on the Pogba thing, we weren't really linked to Pogba. There was just an article from some French people, not reliable at all, saying that Mina Raiola had offered him to Liverpool. So it's
French people.
Yeah. Well, it's Le 10 sport. It's very unreliable. So
yeah.
I think. Look, again, we're getting into big FSG club should sell talks. Take a deep breath. It's not even August yet. There is literally over a month till the window.
Yeah. Listen, guys, we've seen this time and time again. Just wait. After if nothing happens by September 1st, then fine. Let's talk FSG out then. But as
even then, though, because people were panicking.
Even
after
then, yeah, that's also true.
Just slow down.
Look,
don't be so rash.
The issue with us, right, is our job is to look at transfer rumors and judge them. But 99% of transfer rumors won't actually happen because the club can only sign a certain amount of players. And at the end of the day, again, I loop back. Jota, Fabinho, the Trent contract. They move in complete silence. They do not have leaks because the organization, they keep things at the very, very highest of levels, and people aren't chatting James Pierce about that. Like, I don't care how good James Pierce's sources are. If he's talking to someone who's in the know, they're just keeping him at an arm's length until they want some hype on Twitter.
Again, I mean, James Pierce was the one that said, "Oh, Thiago's not going to happen." What happened afterwards?
Yeah.
Even the ones that you think are the most trustworthy, at times they don't know. At times they genuinely just don't know. And I
was Chet, to finish your point. I was going to segue elsewhere.
No, my point is done. I was going to move on to something else.
Dan talking about midfielders.
I was going to move on to that. Yeah.
So I think that the thing is, look at the midfield, right? Do we actually have a surplus of midfielders? I don't know if we do because we've lost Wijnaldum. We haven't really replaced him. We sold Grujic, who could have been his replacement. We have Elliott, who's playing in the midfield.
I'm not having that.
I mean,
I'm not having Grujic.
I'm saying in terms of a body, like he could have been a midfielder and been another option in the midfield. I don't think he was anywhere close to his level.
No, of course.
But so in the midfield, you have Fabinho, Henderson, Thiago, Milner, Keita, Curtis Jones,
Elliott, perhaps.
So you have about 7 there.
And don't forget about the new signings, Leighton Clarkson and Jack Kane.
Charlie, you're making me upset. You're breaking my heart.
Clarkson's actually a baller. I really rate Clarkson.
Who?
He's so cool. He's in class on the ball.
I love Kane.
I love Harry Kane as well.
No, Harry Kane. You mean the new Man City signing? No, not him.
Joe, don't get ahead of yourself. It's not August yet. It's July 31st.
Depends where he is.
It might be where he is. It could be August.
Actually, you know what? That's a good point. I should not be disrespectful to
Jack. Come on, man.
Yeah. What time zone is it? Is it August in? I don't know. We're getting off.
As I said about Clarkson, I think he's a really good sitting 6. Maybe needs a championship loan. Maybe he's not quite strong enough. Yeah. But good player. Really reminds me a bit of Chiravella.
Yeah, we don't have a backup for Fabinho, really. I mean, Wijnaldum played there a bit. Henderson can play there.
Locatelli
is not that guy.
Stop. We don't want to see that Sassuolo shirt.
Locatelli is not that guy. Look, buying opposition teams' jerseys is a bit sus, if you ask me.
No, it's not.
I got a few more.
No, I'm saying that, and then
I got loads. I got like 50 shirts in my. And you've got a Chelsea shirt, haven't you, Jack?
Okay,
exactly.
I'm gonna kick Jack out for us.
No.
Yeah. Well, bye.
Yeah. No, Locatelli, I don't think he can really. I mean, look, if we sign Locatelli, I'm over the moon. I just think that he's a shoehorn for Juventus. It makes too much sense. You know,
I mean, let's be honest. He's only looking for that Juventus move.
Yeah.
I mean, again, Arsenal were like more than ready to pay what Sassuolo wanted. Locatelli just didn't want to go to Arsenal. I mean, I don't blame him. It's Arsenal. But I don't know if we do get. I mean, we're like 5 to 10, like from our outgoings, we're like 5 or 10 away from that valuation. But even if we manage to put it in, I can't believe Jack for that. But
when have I said I don't like Locatelli? I have another YouTube channel where I talk about general football stuff, and I made a video talking about how he would be perfect for Manchester United because he's a tremendous midfielder.
See, Jack's a United fan in secret.
I think Locatelli would be a great signing. The issue is he would be. I don't think he would sign for us because he wouldn't be a starter. You know, he'd go to Juventus, get better wages than he would here, better game time. He'd go to Arsenal, get better game time, slightly inferior wages. And you know what? I do love Keita. That doesn't mean I can't also like Locatelli.
I mean, okay. I actually want to point out 2 things that I saw in the comments now. First thing has to do with Locatelli, and it's Juventus can afford him. They can't. So that they've been trying to get him on a loan with an option, with an obligation to buy. And Sassuolo want the money straight up. So there is a chance that he does not go to Juventus this summer. But I'm just gonna leave it there. And another thing is this here. No house links are coming back up from reliable sources as well. Anyone has any thoughts about it?
I've always liked Newhouse. I think he would always be a really good Wijnaldum replacement. That he's a bit more progressive than he is, but he could always play a bit more of a. If he was in a midfield 3, he'd really thrive because he'd have a bit more license to do a bit more than he did at Mönchengladbach in a midfield 2. But I don't like the idea of let's wait another year because his value could spike. And then we'll be left.
That's the big problem about signing players that have one good season. Either you buy them and they don't perform as well, or you wait and their price goes up. So it's really rolling the dice on a player at times, and I take him. But a player that I would really love is Bissouma.
He's nothing like Genie. Nothing like Genie.
He's a ball winner, and not nearly as good at keeping possession as Wijnaldum is. So I think Wijnaldum was rare in that he was the perfect workhorse, where he kind of just did not do anything spectacular most of the time, but didn't do anything bad. So he kind of is just the baseline in the midfield. That consistency, I think, is actually going to be sorely missed because having the fluctuations in the performance in the midfield and in the like Keita especially. I think about that Madrid performance. Yes, Origi, the big return. Honestly,
Chazo would love to see a Divock return. Come on, man. Look at this. Look at the look on his face. He's loving it.
Divock, I think he honestly, if he stays around, he'll have a big season. I honestly think he will, because
God no,
he's a good forward, right? He struggles because he doesn't have the minutes, and I think what the issue with Origi is, if he doesn't have enough time, he struggles to perform in the limited amount of time that he has. But in a West Ham, in a Leicester, in a side that's going to be a bit more progressive, but he'll be a starter in, he can get 15 goals in the Prem. 100%.
But the problem is he's not a starter for us, and he's never going to be one. We need someone that can actually provide with the amount of minutes that Origi gets.
I agree.
And that's not Origi.
I mean, if I played enough for Liverpool, I reckon I'd improve. So it's no excuse.
How many years has Origi played for us?
Yeah.
And 6 years now.
Yeah, Origi is. I think that there are maybe mentality problems. I think his work rate has some questions, and he has stagnated honestly in his development. He's what 26, 27 now. And I think that Origi, it was time for him to move on probably after the Champions League final. Try and go.
No one wanted that though.
No. After the Champions League final, no.
Look, I'm not here for revisionist history and saying that we should have done this. We're idiots for not doing this, but it would have been the right thing. Looking back, it was smart to keep him.
100%. That was. I mean, that's where his price was at the highest. That would have been a good move. Like for example, us selling Ned Phillips now. It's kind of the same thing after having a good season.
I don't know though.
That's
I don't know because Origi had moments Nat Phillips was
True.
consistent for
True.
17 games.
That's also true.
Like, he didn't put a foot wrong.
The issue is with Phillips is that I don't think he didn't put a foot wrong. I think it's a bit kind.
Did he do anything wrong? I don't remember.
He
I don't
never
recall him
did.
making a
He
mistake.
didn't do anything wrong. I think the only time I can remember him doing something wrong was the game against Hertha Berlin, where he didn't win that header.
The issue is that cannot be your standard for a center back for the way Liverpool want to play. Just doing enough, not being the
No.
reason you fail.
No, but that's not it either. That's not it either.
That's why I think it's different to Origi, because Origi had moments. He didn't particularly play unbelievably well against Barcelona or against Tottenham when he came on. You know, he doesn't impact the game. He scored goals. Nat Phillips impacted the game for consistency. Like, him and Williams towards the end of last season were fantastic. For 90 minutes.
Yeah, I think I agree with DJ here. I think we need to sell Nat because he is, again, what the thing with Van Dijk, Konate, Matip, and Gomez, what they are going to allow us to do is to play more progressive down the field. We will score more goals because of having them. With Phillips, we have to play a more reserved style of football. The fullbacks have to play a bit more reserved. Fabinho has more work to do as a defensive mid. We don't actually have Fabinho back until tomorrow. So I think keeping Phillips, I respect what he's done. He was a tremendous reason why we got top four. And I'll appreciate him for that. But I agree with DJ. I think he needs to play week in, week out. I think Brighton's the perfect move. £10 million, and I think I'm happy with that.
I mean, the way I can see things going is just 10 to 15 million with a buyback clause.
Or with a sell-on clause.
Or with a sell-on clause, yeah.
I think the issue is sell Nat Phillips, get some money, and have Davies be your fifth choice, who I think is better than Phillips.
I mean, let's be honest.
He'll allow us to play the way we want to play because he's not a liability in the high line.
We've seen Ben Davies play one half of football.
No, it wasn't one half. It was 30 minutes.
Or 30 minutes.
You
cannot say that he's better than Nat Phillips. That's just...
I think he flat out just is a better center back for what we want to do because he's not a liability in the back line. We don't need center backs who can dominate in the air.
He's not a liability because he never plays.
Exactly, Jack. I'd be interested to know the amount of minutes you watched him play for Preston North End in his time last season.
I think that Phillips, right? He has issues with how we want to play. Davies does not change the way we play football.
I think Nat Phillips could ping a few balls.
I don't. But the issue is, all you need is one pacey striker next to him, and you have to change the way you play. Davies doesn't force you to change that because the attributes he has are quite similar to
I'd say he's got more suited attributes, but I wouldn't say he's better than Nat Phillips.
He's better for the way we want to play. That's all I'll say. He's better for the way we want to play versus Nat Phillips, who's probably you know what, that's a good point, Chris. He's a better center back, Phillips is, but he's worse for the way we want to play.
Sorry. You're very, very lucky that Matty is not on this stream.
Is there another
Curtis Jones?
Is there another Jones that he could be talking about?
I hope that he's talking about Peter Jones, the guy that works down the street, because if he's talking about Curtis, we gotta have a talk.
I don't understand how you sell Jones right now.
We need to start a dialogue. Come on, this is poor.
Yeah,
I agree with everyone except Jones on that list.
Yeah, Williams. Why sell Williams? I think Reece Williams' value could double in 2 years.
I think that's Nico, not Reece Williams.
Oh yeah, get rid of Nico.
Yeah, both of them.
No. No! See now, you're digging a hole for yourself, my guy. You went.
Curtis. No, wait. Curtis is so heavily underrated. He's not even close to being overrated.
Yeah, man. No one gave him the credit he deserved last season.
No one gives him the credit he deserves. That's the thing,
mate. I don't know what planet this fellow's on.
Definitely a United fan in secret.
Yeah,
but okay. Look at this. Is the reason we lose to lower teams in the league because we don't have a player who can win headers in the box? The issue is we can't break teams down because we can't play more progressively because they could beat us on the break because we have a guy like Phillips. Aerial presence is not the reason why we conceded goals.
If it's aerial presence, we have Konate and Van Dijk.
Exactly.
Yeah,
they're both gigantic. Like that's not a problem anymore.
Oh, Cal.
I've agreed with this. Yeah.
I can actually see that happening. I can actually see that. Yeah, I'll back that.
That's 2 or 3 years down the line.
Yeah.
Hell.
But Curtis.
Ox and Curtis is false nines. No, both of them.
Stop it with Ox. With Curtis though, I think it could be a fantastic false nine. Actually,
let's be honest with ourselves. The reason why we're not looking at a striker or links to one is because Oxlade is our backup false nine. Be upset all you want, but the fact of the matter is he is the backup for Firmino right now. And if that upsets you, I'm very sorry. But that's just the way that Liverpool are doing this because they realize that they can't bring in someone. Oh, there's no hard feelings. There's just
It's okay. Don't worry. It's a joke.
Make sure you subscribe and stay around and watch all our videos.
50-something% of you aren't subscribed. Subscribe.
Actually, please subscribe.
It is actually it's very fair to have these kind of disagreements. I think Curtis has a lot of room to develop in his game. I think that people want him to start when he's not ready to start yet. That's what I will agree with you on. He has a lot of room to grow. But his potential is as high as any player on the team, which is why I don't think we can sell him.
I
We don't
mean,
need to sell him.
I think he needs to watch the way Jordan Henderson plays, the way how quickly Henderson moves the ball. Jones sometimes just, I don't know if you boys notice, sometimes he has half a second too long on the ball.
Yeah.
Without releasing it. It's sometimes a little bit annoying.
What I want to bring up is I think Naby Keita, like if we can get 10 or 15 league games out of him this season, we'll win the title.
If he can
If
he can play like how he's been playing in the preseason, I think he's going to challenge for a starting position this season.
That Minamino goal was entirely down to Keita.
To Naby Keita,
tremendous presser and tremendous vision.
He did great in the preseason games.
Liverpool 101 under Klopp. Win the ball high up the field and just a few passes and you have a goal right there. So I think that Keita,
don't forget that Naby started the first 5 games of last season.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think Keita could bench Henderson, not Thiago, in my opinion.
No, Thiago. I think Thiago's unbenchable.
I think Thiago is unbenchable as well, but I think if Keita, he'll be a key for us starting the season strong because I think that Thiago, Henderson, Fabinho, all going to be late to get in. But I think if Keita can give us first 10 matches before getting injured and help us bed in our players as we get into the season, it could be tremendous.
Listen, I love Hendo's my favorite player. I love him to death, but if Naby can stay fit and he can play on how he's been playing, he should definitely start over Henderson.
Yeah. We haven't seen this midfield ever, but this midfield would be unbelievably good.
All 3 of them having a good day, that midfield, yeah. I'll go as far as to say the best one in the league.
Oh, 100%. That midfield trio on paper, what they could.
If they all have a good day, those 3 are the best midfield in the league.
I think that if this is the season where Naby can be fit, then almost my issue is we shouldn't decide not to sign a midfielder because of trust in Keita. Because I don't think we can trust Keita to be fit, and we should sign a midfielder. And if that midfielder doesn't play as much because Keita is fit, that's a problem I'd love to have, where your Saul signing doesn't play as much because Keita is dominating. Because Keita is, again, I'll say it again. I say it almost every stream. Keita is the perfect Jurgen Klopp player. The perfect Jurgen Klopp player. Only issue is his injuries, which is a problem for Jurgen Klopp's side. But
would it be as much of a problem this year? Who knows?
Hopefully not.
Hopefully.
I always want to root for Naby to do well. But listen, I really want him to do well this season. No injuries, just vibes.
Full preseason with the new fitness coach as well.
Yeah,
maybe.
Look, and Leon Bailey transfer agreed with Aston Villa.
What a signing that's for Villa, by the way.
But here's the thing,
what
right?
a signing.
People look at this. They look at maybe like a Camavinga who might go to Man United and say, "Why didn't we sign these guys? Why would they sign for us? They want to play football. We have in every position of the squad one of the top 3 best players in the league. I'm comfortable saying that.
Bailey doesn't start over Mane or Jota,
and that's why it's so tough for us to sign players because they have to be willing to be a backup. Because no player in our squad is dispensable.
And listen,
for a player that's under 80 million pounds.
I'll take this back to Chris over here. And that's exactly what Bowen is. A player that would be willing to take that number 2 spot.
That's what I've said, Shedu.
But I am Jarrod Bowen.
You are Jarrod Bowen, so I understand that.
That's also true.
But that's why Bowen is so perfect as a signing, because he doesn't need to come in and play football. He can come in, be a backup, Be fine being a backup. Make a contribution. But who's replacing Mane? Genuinely.
Jeremy Doku.
But not
Yeah.
next season. Not
Yeah,
next.
not next season and not the season after.
But do we need to replace Mane? Like now, I mean, people are going on about AFCON. It's 2 games, like against Crystal Palace and Brentford. Like, do we need if he has a terrible season next year, maybe we'll replace him. But we don't need a Mane replacement at the moment. Like, and the thing is, you go next year, maybe he's had another average season. You'll be then willing to get people who want to come in and not just like sit as a second behind him. They'll be coming in knowing, all right, look, he's had 2 not optimal seasons here. I can push for a place in the squad, tie down here, and maybe force Liverpool to sell him. But I can't see that happening. I think Jota's probably his replacement if it happens.
I agree with this from
I agree with that one too. Yeah,
because I think that Mane, he has not guaranteed himself a new contract, and I think he's got 2 years left on his deal, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 3. 2. So I think that this season is the one where he's probably wanted more money for a few years, but you have to be able to prove it. Not just 2 years ago, but you have to be able to prove it next season. So,
can I bring 2 players to the table real quick? First one, Adeyemi. I've seen him play. He's like 18 years old. Phenomenal player. Please, if you guys haven't seen him play, just make yourselves a favor and do so. But going into another one that I find quite interesting, Ward-Prowse. Thoughts on him?
I would really, really love Ward-Prowse.
I'd love to have Ward-Prowse on the team.
Villa bid 25 million, but Southampton wanted far more, I believe. If we could get him for under 40,
and
I'd
have
be
that
well
money.
up for that.
I
would be well up for Ward-Prowse. I don't know about you, Chazza.
Again, a massive issue with Ward-Prowse is where does he come? He's not a winger. Is he going to replace Henderson, Thiago, Keita? Probably comes in as maybe the 4th best midfielder. Like for 40 million, never happening. I think
can also play right back.
I mean, the way we see things is okay. 40 million. That's probably what Saul would cost anyway. That's probably what any midfielder would cost if we sign him, and it's going to be the same case every time. Sal
is going to come in as potentially a starter. If not, he's going to be the first choice. Ward-Prowse definitely won't come in as the first choice. Definitely won't come in as the backup. Like, as good as Ward-Prowse is, and he's got Premier League experience, like, he's probably one of Southampton's better creative players. So Southampton just funnel him the ball and say, do something with it. Like, he's not going to get that at Liverpool, is he? So, for Villa, amazing signing. I think if Villa can get Todd Cantwell, like they're being reported to, if they sell Grealish, they've got him, Buendia, Ward-Prowse with Bailey.
They're making a good team.
And Watkins up front. I think they'll get top 6 next year if they get Cantwell and Ward-Prowse with.
If they keep Grealish, I can see it happening. Next season.
I don't think they won't.
They definitely won't. I think he's on his way to Man City as we speak. But
I think they've signed too many players for them not to sell Grealish. I think they're spending the Grealish money already.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think the issue with Ward-Prowse is, as you guys have mentioned, he doesn't fit us. Like, I don't.
Do you think he's an absolute workhorse?
Yeah, he does.
I don't think that. But again, he doesn't. I would contradict myself on Bowen, saying that he can walk in as a backup, comfortable in that spot. That's my reason I give for Bowen and for English. So yes, probably I should rate Ward-Prowse for that reason, but I just don't think that. I think he would walk in, he'd be behind Henderson, Thiago, Keita.
Would he be behind Henderson?
Yes, he would.
At the moment, yeah, 100%.
By how much though?
Say next season, would he be behind Henderson after Henderson's a year older?
Maybe not.
No, he wouldn't.
James Ward-Prowse turns 27 in November. He's not a young player anymore.
The thing with distance covered as well, tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm like 80% sure that he covered the most ground out of any player in the Premier League last season. So, I mean, he could come in and do a job, but if you look at it, he's got Fabinho, Keita, I think we agree Keita will be ahead of him. Thiago, Henderson currently ahead of him. We know how much Klopp loves Jones, so probably maybe not ahead of him, but he's probably be on a similar level to Jones currently. He's definitely not getting in a winger spot as he plays for Southampton sometimes. So I think for Liverpool, it's definitely a no-go for Ward-Prowse, but I wouldn't say no to him. But and his age is an issue as well. So
It's again, I think if we were to sign him, wouldn't be terrible. But I think for the money, and he hasn't pushed for us for 40-50 million pounds. He does not push the needle.
I mean, I'll be honest. The price point that he has is around the same price point as a Saul or Locatelli. I'd take both of them over Ward-Prowse. But if Ward-Prowse were to sign, I would be very excited. If he were a cheaper option, then 100% I'd go for him. But if it's the same as like a Saul, I'd prioritize getting Saul over Ward-Prowse.
Yeah. I think a lot of interesting options. Jonathan David, Lautaro Martinez, Houssam Aouar, Dusan Vlahovic, if I mentioned him. A lot of interesting players, I think, that are being linked to Liverpool. And the issue is you can only have 25 players in your squad, so you can only have so many of these dreams. But the Premier League season begins in just 2 weeks. We're actually in the process of – Chris, what are you laughing at?
I'm just laughing at Brian's comment. John Joe back.
Do we want John Joe Shelby back? How much? 50 million? 60?
Oh, mate, it's more than that. 150? I
think that's about right.
I think it's a bit of a bargain.
World record transfer in my eyes. We're actually in the process of upgrading our stream quality, so be on the lookout for that. Hopefully next week, these streams will be even more fuego than beyond our discussions are currently. But last thoughts kind of on the transfers for today as we head into August tomorrow. Predictions on how many signings will be made in the month of August by Liverpool Football Club. Jarrod Bowen, you go first.
I'll go for one transfer.
Who is that? Who is that transfer?
Jarrod Bowen. I am signing for Liverpool. It's happening.
Okay, Jarrod Bowen. Shedu, number of signings.
I'm gonna back it. One signing, Jarrod Bowen. That's the only thing I can see happening.
Charlie.
Yeah,
Charles.
I'm gonna go one. I did say previously two, but I don't think we're signing a midfielder. I'm pretty confident that Jarrod Bowen's coming in. So yeah,
Maybe it's a smokescreen for Kylian Mbappe.
And that's where we're gonna leave it right there. Mbappe 2021, baby.
Yes.
Hey, glad to have everyone involved. A crazy day of interaction on the YouTube. Really appreciate it. Make sure to drop a subscribe if you're around. We're going to have more of these streams as we get towards the end of the window and potentially watch alongs throughout the entire season. So the engagement is very much appreciated on the LFC Transfer Room. Make sure to follow us on all our socials, LFC Transfer Room, and subscribe to us on YouTube, as I've mentioned, of course. Myself, Jack, for Jarrod Bowen, a.k.a. Chris. Exactly. The stream being 4,000K. Charlie, Shedu, Jarrod Bowen, Chris, myself, Jack. Thank you very much for being in today's stream.